Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 220.
220.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. We're going to be talking about not only Walt Disney World this week, but Disneyland Paris. And they handle all of that, plus all the major cruise lines and just everywhere around the world is what they handle.
One-stop shop.
Yes, but they are Disney specialists and Universal Studio specialists, so you can check them out.
Absolutely. Also, the allears.net weekly newsletter.
And this week is the Bits and Bytes issue, which catches everyone up on the month ahead. Historian Jim Corkus returns with another Disney Chronicles article, this time about Richard Nixon and the Beatles, which I'm looking forward to reading. There's more coverage of the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival. There's Pandora, the World of Avatar, information and videos, and then tips, magical moments, and much more. So there's always a lot to read.
Be sure to check out the show notes for full information on how to subscribe. We highly recommend it.
And now we're heading to Disney's Hollywood Studios. It's actually been quite some time since we have stopped here. At least weeks, right?
That's right. And the dark room seems to be dark at the moment.
I guess it has been since early January, and maybe we didn't notice it because we did stop here to see, I don't know, we must have seen something like a few weeks ago. But they are supposed to be opening another week or two.
What are we going to do to buy our Kodak film?
Yeah, it's mostly like magic bands and stuff now. So obviously you're not buying a lot of camera accessories at this point.
Anyway, very interesting. Everything is temporarily shut down, but we'll have to check out what's coming next. Now we're going to look at Star Wars Land.
Well, Star Wars Land is under construction until sometime in 2019 is what they say currently. We'll see if that
2019? That's the official projection?
Right now it is. Uh-huh. It doesn't look like a lot has happened yet. I mean, if you look at Disneyland, it looks like they are.
They finally took down the ice cream cone, though.
Yes.
You can see that, so there's progress there.
It's amazing that there's still, buildings there from New York Street. But anyway, 2019, currently, you never know with Disney. A lot of times things get pushed. But both Disneyland and Walt Disney World are going to be 14 acres each. They'll have 2 attractions each, not counting like the cantina, which I guess will be kind of more of a restaurant-y type place.
Right. Well, I know one of them is you get to drive the Millennium Falcon.
Right. So
there you go.
That is one of them. And then there's another attraction also. And that's about it. I mean, it's going to be Star Wars Land, and it's going to be here eventually.
You can see it's a little bit different than the last time we looked. This is a shot from Pizza Rizzo.
Pizza, which was closed at 4 p.m., which was
early closure.
Very early, and I can kind of understand because nothing is going on at this side of the park. You have Muppets, which isn't really that busy later on, but 4 p.m. seemed. I mean, it's really just kind of open for lunch right now, at least when we were there.
So also some other things of interest while we were there. We decided to check out One Man's Dream. We hadn't seen the Moana meet and greet yet, so we checked that out. It was actually very well done and very sparse.
Well, that's why we even did it. It said 20 minutes, but it was more like 2 minutes at this point.
Well, it was 0 minutes at this time. I went in after we had already met her just to get some video because I kind of like the queue and everything. It's very well done. And as you could see, 0 minutes. The only sad thing for me about this whole thing is all the nice Epcot display with the robot butler and the Figment and all that are nowhere to be seen. They've been shipped back to the archives, I was told.
Well, also the Disney Parks displays are gone as well. I also want to mention, we did Toy Story Mania, and there was no wait for that either. We were able to just walk on, so that's kind of nice
another
too.
Pro tip there. Late in the day, go down to that section, the Pixar area, and you can get a lot done.
But you might not get a good spot for the Star Wars.
We had a fine spot.
It was okay.
Here's Moana, and Moana is going away at Disneyland Paris very soon to be replaced by Belle. So I'm glad we got to see Moana here. When we go to DLP, we will not see her.
Well, we may see her. You never know because they trot out characters all the time. Yes, trot out.
I hope they trot her out.
Well, you never know who you're going to see at Disneyland Paris. They really have such a wide variety of characters. They're just not going to be the regular meet and greet they have now.
This was very nice, but I did want to see her in her big winter garb. Here there's no need for a winter garb.
No, but in Paris it would have been nice.
So we also checked out the preview for the new Beauty and the Beast film, and they had some of the props from the film here on display.
Well, there was just really a couple items. You have the Belle jar with Rose, and then the dress. I'm assuming one of the dresses that Emma Watson wore in the film, along with a jewelry piece.
In California, they have the different Belle outfit, sort of the blue, what do you call it?
The village
outfit. Yes.
outfit.
So it's slightly different out there. I'll have to put some pictures on to show that at some point.
And I was going to mention, like, really the park was pretty empty this night. So it's, I think this area is probably going to be fairly empty in the evenings anyway, but it really, even the Star Wars fireworks were not too busy.
And another tip about that, if you wait till right before the show starts, they make everybody stand up, maybe 2 or 3 minutes before the show. And when everyone stands up, it creates all this extra room, so you can kind of slip in and get a pretty good spot if you don't mind possibly being behind tallness.
Well, I was. So anyway, we had seen the Beauty and the Beast preview. I also spoke with Don Hahn, executive producer of the new film. He was a big part of the old film as well, and did the research trip, like to the Loire Valley and such, which I had talked to him about. But here is just a little bit of my interview with Don Hahn. And for the original movie, and I didn't even know this till we did a Loire Valley trip this past year, you were at the Loire Valley, and I mean, it's incredible the amount of work that went into that, and how much of that kind of transfers over into the new film, if any.
Well, it's a lot. I mean, if you've been to the Loire, you know how beautiful it is when you go to Chambord and and some of those old places. And so, even though in the film it's a fairy tale castle and it's built by our amazing production designers, it still has echoes of a French fairy tale. And it was a French fairy tale, and so that's why we went to the Loire, and that's why the visual vernacular, the vocabulary of France and the vocabulary of architecture in the Loire Valley makes it into the film. Both outside and inside, the beautiful interiors in this film are a real treat. It's real eye candy for the audience.
And can I ask you where Belle's Village, because I've read so many different places, was inspired by?
Oh, it's funny. It's not any one particular place. We stayed at several places in the Loire Valley, but there's probably a little bit of English village in it too. In the Cotswolds and those wonderful little charming English villages. So you just get a chance to feel these little kind of towns that raised wool and period towns from the 17th century. So it's a fantasy town made up of our favorite bits of all these little villages.
Oh, okay. I had read maybe around the Alsace area of France, but so it's kind of a little bit of a lot of places.
It is, and that's the joy of not only animation, but the making of this live-action film is you want to come up with a place that the audience hasn't been to before, and you want to take the audience to a place they haven't been to before. So it allows you to make the perfect idyllic fantasy village for characters to live in, and that's the fun part.
And what was the casting process like? We'll just say for the two leads of Emma and Dan Stevens. How did that go?
I think for Emma, it was a pretty short list of people that many people wanted to do that role, but very few people we felt like could do that role. And Bill Condon, with his amazing expertise at telling stories in music, was able to say, here's an actress who is very respected at a very young age, someone who in her personal life is active in women's rights, for a character who's very active in women's rights, a character who can sing, an actress who can sing, and so she was on a short list of one, I think, for that role, and wanted to do it, wanted to set aside a large chunk of her career, which you'd have to do for a film like this,
right,
to play this role, and we're really grateful for that. And Dan Stevens, most of the Western world has grown up with a lot of Downton Abbey over the last few years, and he was such a beloved character on that show, and as an actor, came to Broadway, came into a lot of projects since then, and became this, kind of perfect character, not too handsome and hunky and gratuitous, but the right amount of personality and affection and kind of instinct to play that role. So I think the Beast was probably a little harder to cast than it was in this case, and Dan brings so much to it. It's a difficult role because he's covered in CGI makeup for the whole movie.
We really enjoyed talking to Don Hahn. I put up an interview article just with everything, but I had asked him about the village because I had read that it was a certain town that Belle's Village was based on, and I wanted to go there, but since there's no place to go, it will save us some money.
Well, I remember the last time we talked to him in person, you had the great idea to bring up his footwear that he was wearing, and you complimented his special shoes.
They were
he
like
always
sandals.
remembers that. Yes,
I don't know. Does
he has
remember?
referenced it after. So anyway,
He's
we
a
look
nice
forward
guy.
to seeing the film. We're going to see it tomorrow, so I can't wait.
And now we're at Epcot.
We don't go there enough.
We don't go there enough, and actually, in the last week, we haven't gone there.
A whole week without
It's been a week.
without Epcot is a bad week.
It is. So anyway, we were there for the Royal Tea Tour. If you've been to the UK during the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival, you know maybe that they have free tours during the day, but there is now a $15 tour. It's just once per morning. It's at 9:30 approximately, and you need to book it ahead at 407 WDW Tour. We purchased it, so we didn't get it for free or anything, but I had really wanted to try it. And what it gives you is like scones and tea at the end of the tour. It's an extended tour. It is before the UK actually opens for the day, which is at 11 a.m.
I like that it forces you to get to the park for opening.
I
It's
like
a beautiful,
opening at
it's a
the park, yeah.
wonderful time to be there. And before the tour starts, you kind of hang out here in an empty and delightful pub.
Well, I think it's very interesting that they keep opening kind of more and more of World Showcase. I don't know if World Showcase will ever all open at 9, but you have Norway open and France, part of France open. And here you have the English Tea Garden tour before World Showcase opens, quite a bit before it opens.
Oh, there's our tour guide.
Yes. I think her name would be, say, Francesca.
Is that how you?
Something like that. But she was very good.
But she didn't drink tea.
She doesn't drink tea.
Does not like tea.
And I thought that was very interesting. And she doesn't like coffee either. She drinks water. I don't even know if she takes lemon with her water.
Now, we also learned about the steps of tea production. I didn't know any of this stuff. In the past,
They
they've
tell
not
us-
gone into... No, they've not gone into this in the past. At least I don't think.
Well, yeah, they have gone through some of it, but it's probably about double. I think the normal tea tour is about 20 minutes, where this
So
was
they
about
probably
45.
breeze over it, and I've never really listened to all that stuff. So I learned much more during this tour than the many, many tours we've taken in the past.
It's very similar. Like, taking it, I don't know that I would think that it was a different tour, but it is, again, 20 versus, let's say, 45. So it's just more information.
I have to say, buttermint, that was the biggest surprise of all. I loved it. That was the one I took at the end. You can pick your complimentary tea. I love that buttermint.
They said it was new, but it seems like the UK has had buttermint for at least a few years, but it's certainly a newer one. And so Twinings has Beauty and the Beast flavors, and we were told it was just
Well,
at the
they're not
Tea Caddy.
Beauty and the Beast flavors.
Okay,
they're
sorry.
they're just Beauty and the Beast on the box.
Yes, just on the box. But we were told they were
Packaging.
We were told they were just at the Tea Caddy, but they're not. They're online.
They're everywhere, actually.
They're almost everywhere. So at Walt Disney World, you can find them certainly almost everywhere.
The World of Disney had all 4. They only had 3 here at the UK store.
And we bought a couple of them.
Oh boy, highlight of the tour right there.
So for $15, you get, again, the extended tour. You can also shop at the Tea Caddy before it opens. And then they had a takeaway box of scones and a cup of tea included.
Hot scones.
And they were very good. One is savory with, it's like a Irish cheddar. And then a regular scone, I wouldn't call it sweet because I don't think scones are really sweet, with clotted cream and Earl Grey butter. And I thought those were very good. And I thought that this made it worth the $15.
I thought so too. I loved it. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it turned out, to be quite honest with you. So it was worth the money for sure, just for the scones. But again, I learned things, and I learned what I like too. I learned a lot about tea. They should always hire people that don't participate in that item to give a tour of it.
Well, it's sort of like when we interviewed Kiss, and you were a big fan of Kiss, but I had to do the interviewing because he was such a big, big fan.
I thought I asked great questions.
Sometimes it's better to be kind of outside of it, and you learn it, and you don't have to be too passionate about it.
That's true. Gene did definitely give you good answers. I'll tell you that. Oh, no, somehow we're in Busch Gardens, and we're looking at topiary. I don't want to confuse our viewers. This is not Epcot topiary, but Busch Gardens topiary. Beautiful stuff.
And there was no tea.
No tea.
So the topiaries included the Octopus's Garden and Spirit of Spring. They have like a food and wine festival here.
These look like they could be related to a divine somehow.
Yes. So I thought that was very interesting. And
this
there's
was
your
that lobster thing.
tart.
It was lobster tart, yes. my favorite food item of the whole preview was this.
Now, we didn't try like a ton of different food items, maybe 5 or 6
It's because
items.
we were distracted by,
No.
well, we'll see
They had a
soon.
certain amount of food items and a number of beers as well.
And wines. And I
wines.
did try a good selection of all those things.
But they have quite a bit more than what we were able to try. There is this Food and Wine Festival goes through April 30th.
Mm-hmm.
There's 18 concerts. They have them on weekends only, and as well as the food booths.
And it's good seating. They actually seating in chairs, unlike Universal. It's a comfortable place to see a show.
Yes. But also, between the two of us, I didn't try as many items because I'm not so adventurous, but Jeff tried the grilled lamb chop.
That was a lamb chop right there, and also the scallops were there.
And they had duck fat truffle fries. But then we went to go see the kangaroos.
Well, they
because-
told us, you can come in and feed the kangaroos. Who knew? I've never seen the little kangaroo in the pouch.
I
That
thought
was
that
so
was
cool.
really cool.
Yeah, all of a sudden you see this little head come out of the pouch. So anyway, I thought that was quite interesting.
And the mom kept like shoving the head back in. There was like nine kangaroos with joeys, and the joeys I guess stay in the pocket for like 9 months. And I didn't see any of the other ones popping out, but this one just was very active.
Now, anyone can do this. This is part of a normal Busch Gardens day, but they had it opened especially for us, and we were given food for free, which we were able to feed. So we took full advantage
In the
of
past, we paid for food.
Oh, I would absolutely
pass
do that.
holders.
Absolutely.
But this is called Walkabout Way, and it really is really a lot of fun just to go and check them out.
Yeah, it's probably a highlight for me. I love all the roller coasters. Don't get me wrong. The new roller coaster is great, and we'll talk about that in an upcoming show. But how can you beat this? That's your hand there feeding that little guy.
They're really cute. I mean, you don't really get a chance in life to see kangaroos close up, so it's
at
it's
Animal
really a treat.
Kingdom they're so far away you don't get to really get that up close and personal look. Anyway, now we're going to talk about Disneyland Paris, the 25th anniversary. We're so excited.
We're going around the world here, so Disneyland Paris 25th. We're going to be there very soon. And we are very excited about it. I just can't believe it's coming up.
I expect to
so
see
quickly
this.
now.
I expect to see this every day. The 25 made out of actual characters there.
Now, they haven't said how long this will go. Their last celebration went about 2 years. When I was there for the 10th, it was only like a day.
Disney Dreams still playing 5 years later.
But there's going to be Disney Illuminations, but they're also going to have other shows. They're switching stuff up. And we just want to thank Heather and Megan, who are in Paris right now.
They are our Canadian friends.
Yes, and they watch a show, and they have been sending us pictures from Disneyland Paris. But also Max from DLP Welcome has also sent us or allowed us to use some of his photos.
That's
and we
right.
really
Max
appreciate that.
was the first French fan site person we met back in 2014. He was so nice to us, and
now
we
we're
don't
friends
forget
with-
that.
now we're friends with
good
a lot
friends.
of them.
We're going to be eating at his house. True story.
That is true.
So anyway, here are some of the great decorations here for the 25th anniversary. Oh boy.
And everything is so blue, just like Disneyland in California's was so blue. So I really love these Tinkerbells on the lampposts, and they're all different. I don't know if everyone is different, but you can see.
They are absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to go and see them all and photograph them all and videotape them all and enjoy them all.
And also Disney Stars on Parade will start. I think we're going to miss Disney Magic on Parade. They like to say the Disney on Parade was something different. And there's going to be a dragon, just like in Festival of Fantasy at Magic Kingdom, a little different, but then Illuminations. Oh, and there's Mickey and Minnie. There's a bunch of different character sculptures now in Central Plaza. So we were just there like 6 months ago, and everything looks
Well, it was
totally
Halloween.
different.
It was
right.
Halloween time.
But they're so, in the last couple of weeks, they've just been adding like tons of stuff.
I like the white flowers. It's going to sparkle.
That's
Just
what they
like
call it.
Disneyland's 60th, this will sparkle.
Well, they say get ready to sparkle.
I am ready to sparkle.
They even say about Illuminations, this spectacularly sparkly illumination show. So, I mean, it must be really extra sparkly. But they're going to have the Starlit Princess Waltz show. And then also they're going to have a Happy Anniversary Disneyland Paris show. There's going to be like shows everywhere, I think. But Cinemagique is closing at Disney Studios.
Not
so
to
I'm
mention the
disappointed about that.
merchandise. We are going to be very tempted. Look at all this merchandise that's popping up already.
So some of our friends who are bloggers, they just did like a 1 hour, 2 different shows about 1 hour of Disneyland Paris merchandise.
We will not be doing that. I don't think.
Not an hour, but look at the bathrobe too.
Maybe we will do an hour talking
No,
about
I don't think we're going to do an hour, but we'll do a video on the merchandise as well. But, at first I wasn't sure about the merchandise, but there's just so much of it. You have to like something, and there's a number of items I definitely already want.
And the book, I'm looking forward. I don't have a picture of
Yes.
it, but I'm looking forward to that book. And the gift cards. I love the gift cards there. Very creative. I think we're going to... There they are. There is a...
And I think we saw them last time, and I thought maybe we should get them. I don't know how much money you have to put on them, but it's worth it. Like, if you have to put 15 and then you're using the 15, like, why wouldn't you want to get it?
Oh, and here's the Disneyland Hotel. The lobby just had fresh renovations done.
So Heather and Megan and their family stayed there, and they had actually gotten bumped up, I think I can say this, from the Newport Bay because the room that they wanted, the room type they wanted at Newport, was not available for them. So they
That
got
is
Disneyland
a
Hotel.
fairy tale ending
It
right
is.
there. I would love
Disneyland's
to.
really
Yes.
nice.
Oh, and also today a new song was released, which we have already put up. They were
Every day's a celebration.
Every day is a celebration. That is very true. So it's the 25th anniversary celebration song that'll be especially played on April 12th, which is the actual birthday.
I'm assuming they'll play it at other times too, because you don't just make up a cool song like that without using it. But we'll see. It's really a good one, and we did. It is on the channel.
That's right. So we will link to that in the show notes. And speaking of the show, that is another show.
That's our another show, and thanks to MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. Thank you for being our sponsors, and definitely check them out for they'll try to get you the best deal, especially on a Walt Disney World or other Disney vacation.
Also, the allears.net weekly newsletter. Again, check out the show notes for full information on how to subscribe.
It's free.
It
It's
is
a free newsletter, and I've been getting it for years.
So we already have a bunch of stuff ready to go for next week. We just recently dined at STK after quite a while of having it be open at Disney Springs.
And I won a contest to learn how to roll sushi with Chef Morimoto,
Right.
so I already did that. And we talk a little bit more about Disney Springs in the next show.
And just yesterday, we went to Disney's Typhoon Lagoon to check out their new water ride, Miss Adventure Falls.
So there's a lot going on, and we still have a couple more days to collect a little bit more footage around the parks.
Thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we will see you all next week.
Have a great week.